Welcome to the Behind the Bar podcast. Today we have Paddy joining us from So Let's Talk. Do you want to give a little introduction to yourself?
Yeah, I'm Paddy from So Let's Talk. I suppose people call me the founder. I'm not a massive fan of titles. I'm just not. I was always referred to as like an abbreviation when I worked in the trade. GM, AGM, CDP.
The F doesn't sound that great though.
No, I know, right? So like when I got started, I was like, I prefer people just use my name. But yeah, I'm the founder of So Let's Talk, and we work on the mental, physical and financial health of hospitality professionals.
Cool. So how did you get into that? How did it all start?
How did I get into it? As in like the industry?
Start from the beginning. How did you get into the industry?
So I was 13 and I used to glass collect in a working men's club in Burnley.
Yeah.
So my dad was the chairman. It's called the Irish League. And I used to finish school 3:30, go home, get a shower, then go and collect glasses. And I suppose, like, some people would call it child labour. I just thought it was like a really good lived experience. I got paid to socialise. Everyone knew each other. I used to get tipped. And I fell in love with hospitality. It sounds really cliche, but I actually did. I was like, this is great. I can also be somebody else.
Yep.
You know the one, right? You've had a crap day.
Yeah.
You get into work, you're on hospitality, you just put your mask on.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm going to put on a show. So yeah, fell in love with hospitality from then and never stopped working in the trade from 13 onwards. So I went from there to being a pot wash in like a little cafe down near the golf club in Burnley. And then I moved into working as a glass collector in like nightclubs, like 16, 17. And as well as that, I come from a family of coaches. So all of my siblings and my parents are master NLP practitioners, which is like neuro-linguistic programming.
That's fancy.
Yeah, it is. It is fancy words for like your thoughts, feelings and behaviours. So I started to study NLP pretty naturally at like 15, qualified at the age of 17, and then went away with Tony Robbins and his team to do some work. So I was like delivering youth leadership coaching courses, which was miles away from the work that we did in the industry. And with those two worlds combined, I got made a general manager of a nightclub in Burnley called Posh, which is ironic because there's nothing that's posh in Burnley, at like the age of 21.
That's very young to be a GM.
Yeah, I mean, I was all right with people. No idea about rotoring, forecasting, or how to set myself any boundaries. And then I got introduced to cocaine on my second shift.
Nice.
Yeah. And it wasn't a taboo. It was like, yeah, mate, take this powder. It's going to help you keep going. You're working 10-hour shifts.
Second shift.
It was normal.
Yeah.
And it was like, it wasn't taboo. Like everyone was doing it. So I created a really unhealthy relationship with drugs, really unhealthy relationship with booze. Like any emotion that I had, I used to match it with a drink. Bad shift, drink. Good shift, drink. Day off, going to work, have a drink. But the unhealthiest thing out of all of that was my relationship with work. Like hospitality was my lifestyle. It wasn't a job. So if I wasn't inside of work serving food and drink, I was outside of work spending more money than I had on food and drink while surrounding myself with people who did the same thing. It's all we talked about.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Called it market research.
Live and breathe it.
Yeah, it was like getting pissed undercover. And then it's like, oh yeah, we're going to just call it market research.
Yeah.
Go and eat the good
I'm just
food.
going to go to another pub down the corner just to see what they're doing.
Oh, I wonder what that Manhattan tastes like. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, so I did that for a decade. And on the outset, I kind of looked semi-successful, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because I was always in management positions, always in different concepts. And I used to tell people that I was ticking off boxes on my CV. What a lie that was. So I used to say, I'm going to work in somewhere that's dry lead, somewhere that's wet lead, somewhere that's late night, somewhere that's not late night. And actually what I was doing was running away. I was hoping that if I changed to a new city, changed to a new concept, if I changed my environment, maybe my reality will change. And I would stop doing this really destructive cycle. Because I was just drinking all the time, getting no sleep, not seeing my family, taking loads of drugs. Like, it was what I was doing for a decade. So yeah, came to a head, did that, obviously. Like 2019, I was still a young but very tired and haggard hospitality professional. And I decided to start being a consultant. So I was setting up people's venues for them, training teams, writing cocktail menus. And it was the Christmas period, 2019. And it was in Manchester during the Christmas markets.
I've been to that. It's an awesome Christmas market.
Awesome, right? But also...
From a, like, visitor's point of view, it's great.
Wildly busy.
Yeah.
And you've got everyone in their Christmas jumpers forgetting about all of their morals, right? Just going and doing whatever they want to. So they said, look, Paddy, it's a pop-up. It's going to be here for 2 months. Can you write a cocktail menu, hire a team of people, take as much money as you can, and we're going to pay you pretty well? I was like, yeah, of course. Then they give me my rota, which was like back-to-back AFDs for 2 weeks solid.
What's AFDs for people that don't know?
Yeah, all fucking day.
Yeah.
So it just means that if you see it on your rota, you get a break when you can try and get a break.
Yeah.
And you're going to be working for 12 to 14 hours. And I didn't go home after those shifts. Of course I didn't. I went out, stuck loads of drugs up my nose, drank loads of booze, turned up to all my shifts like nothing had happened.
Mm-hmm.
And no one recognised that I wasn't in a good place because I was so high functioning. That mask that I was talking about, I was so good at putting that on. I could run a shift or deliver a service and do it pretty well off the back of having no sleep and still being pretty high or hungover, without a doubt. And after those 2 weeks, I got home and it was New Year's Day 2020. I'm going to share something that's potentially kind of triggering. So for anyone listening, like, if you need to take yourself a break from this, please do. Or if you want to reach out to us and need support. And New Year's Day 2020, I come back off those 2 weeks of AFDs. And I remember I was sat in my mum's spare room and I was hungover on a come down and in a really bad place.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd recognised that I'd had some intrusive thoughts for quite a while. You know, like, hopefully no one can resonate with this, but it is pretty common. Like, I wonder what would happen if I did that quite often without recognising it. But at this point in time, I was having suicidal ideations and I was in the planning stage. So the only option that I could see for me not to be in that horrible cycle was for me not to be here. And that scared me, like properly scared me. So I went and had a chat with my mum, who's obviously been a coach for 40 years, who's really direct. She was like, oh, I was waiting for this conversation. She was like, what?
So she knew it was going to happen?
Yeah.
She was just waiting.
She was waiting, right? And we'd had loads of chats and I'd always kind of flirted with the idea of not being in the industry. So I had a chat and I said, look, I have to leave. I have to leave the trade. I have to go and get myself some help and support. Went to an AA meeting, sat there and was like, I don't think I'm here. I don't think and this is not me just being resentful of the idea of being an addict. I was like, I just don't feel like I'm at that stage. Mm-hmm. So I went to therapy, recognised I had an unhealthy relationship. And what I mean by that is I couldn't have one drink. I could go for days without having a drink, but when I did have a drink, I'd just get...
binge.
Binge, get annihilated. So as I left the trade, I remember just getting really annoyed, like frustrated, mate. Because I remember thinking, well, I love the industry, but I've had to leave it. Mm-hmm. And I've got loads of mates who've had to do the same thing. So I had a rant on the Manchester Bars page, right? So it was like 19,000 people on this page. I just said, look, I'm going to set up a platform where we can talk about our mental, physical and financial health. Can I get a room and some coffees and like, who wants to come for a chat? And I signed off the post with So Let's Talk.
And that's where it started.
Yeah. And our now creative director, who's a really good mate. We'd worked on a couple of concepts previously.
Is that Aaron?
No, that was Rick. Rick, yeah. So Rick Barrett is our creative director. And he has a creative house, he calls it. So he designs menus and concepts and websites and branding. So he saw the sign off, sent me over a logo that we still use now. He was like, mate, it's a great name for a business. And the post got loads of traction.
How many people turned up for the first session?
Yeah, this is interesting. So do you know what? Really eclectic group of people. So there was like 15 of us sat in Speaking Chord in Manchester. It's a massive plug, by the way, if you've not been to Speaking Chord and you do drink, or even if you don't. It's an amazing cocktail bar. I think it's been voted the 8th best bar in the UK. And we sat in there and there was like Abby Dunn from 68 People. There were some hospitality managers. There was some people who worked as chefs. And a couple of the team members that are still non-exec for us now, like Stefan Whaley and a couple of other people. And we kind of just sat down and said, like, what are we going to do? How do we change the industry?
Yeah, something needs to be done about this. How do we do it?
Yeah. And everyone was like, education. And I said, but would you listen to someone who's never worked in the industry before? Come and talk to you about getting sleep. Get to bed at 10 o'clock every night and get yourself a routine. Didn't think of that, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, so
tried that one, didn't work.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, why don't you just get yourself a break?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe because I'm scared of poverty. Like, I get paid national minimum wage. Maybe I'm not taking a break because it's the only way that I can live. So we all decided that it had to come from a place of lived experience. So we did. We went away and talked to loads of experts in the fields of sleep and nutrition and exercise and mental health. And then we started to mould that information to make sense to the industry. And then, I started delivering it. I think our first ever session was to Honest Burgers. It was horrendous.
From your side of you, or like,
Yeah,
just because you didn't know, like,
their
first thing you
feedback
done?
was very good, to be fair. But it was, I think it lasted for like 3 hours. It was just too much information. So one of the things that we talk about is Let's Talk is our constant evolution. So one of our core values is to listen to understand people, not to respond. And then with that understanding, we'll then go and give people what they want, not what I think they need. I talk to some younger hospitality professionals, like Gen Z at the moment, and they look at me like, you did what? Like, you went and drank how much? And they just don't understand it.
It's a whole different like world to them, isn't it?
Yeah, they're asking different questions during interview processes now, aren't they? Can I get a living wage? And do you have an equity, equality, diversity and inclusion plan? And I was like, can I drink on shift? And how much do I get paid? Do you know what I mean? It's like, that was it.
Do I get free food?
Yeah. So long story short, I'll keep it as short as possible. That's what we did. And in the last 4 years, next month, we ran sessions for over 50,000 hospitality professionals, worked with quite a large array of like partners, so House, Nouveau Trading Company, Honest Burgers, Pizza Programs. Yeah, just a lot of people. And the mission's still up to 86 of silence, which is like our tagline. That's to get rid of the silence of the topic of mental, physical and financial health.
I've been to one of your sessions, and I was very impressed, because I always think about things where people are talking at me. I'm sort of a bit like, because it's not how my brain functions, but the way that you split it up and you get people to think for themselves during the sessions was very good.
I appreciate that, mate. And we've had some feedback recently, and I resonated with it because I'm in the process of getting tested for ADHD at the moment. So if you ask me to sit down for 2 hours and listen to somebody, it doesn't matter how good of a speaker they are, I'm switching off.
Yeah, your brain just goes, ooh.
Oh, like that. Yeah. Oh, why has no one picked up that bev nap over there? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
it's an empty glass over there. Why is it there?
Exactly. So yeah, we're starting to make them snappier, and we've done that by creating podcasts, like internal podcasts. So they're not out there in the ether, but it's for our partners to use internally, and it's 15-minute bite-sized clips that are like punchy. Kind of looks like a diary of a CEO, and we started to use them instead for a lot of people, because 2 hours for any hospitality professional, a long time to give us.
Yeah, it's a lot of time out of the day, especially if you're doing it like an all day and you've got no break. That 2 hours is... It's
a long time. And if you're working with a large national, trying to round up a group of even senior leaders in your business to be in one place at a particular time, it's hard.
Have you had like bad feedback from sessions and things?
100%, and I love it. I love it because it means that someone's comfortable enough to be able to give it to us, right? To be able to go, do you know what, I didn't resonate with that. And yeah, some of the feedback, when I first got started, I was so passionate about it that I didn't do any perceptual positions, which is like fancy words for, I wonder what somebody else feels like in that instance. So I became quite preachy. Some people, like I remember running a session and I came out and I was like, I feel like one of those social media, like toxically positive influences. Like,
my life's amazing.
Yeah, and it's not. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just not.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a certain stage where I was like gymming every morning, and I was eating every 2.5 hours, and cold walk swimming, and I was like, and I looked at myself and I was like, it's not sustainable. I can't do that forever. And also, people don't resonate with that kind of stuff.
I think the honesty side of it works. So when we were setting up Workforce, we were saying that you have to be honest to people nowadays, especially Gen Z. Like if you give them some jargon that's like, oh, hospitality is amazing, you'll have the best time ever, you'll create a family. It is amazing. You will become a family as such.
Yeah.
But it's not all sunshines and roses. Like, there's so many different sides to it. And I think that's what we really want to make it, not to scare people off, but to put it in perspective that you will have a bad day. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you'll be able to, like, it's how you get over that and how you resonate with everyone.
Yeah. For me, it's vulnerability. Now, a lot of senior leaders don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to tell their teams, you know what, sometimes it's shit. And sometimes we don't do everything they say that we're going to do. And you might have to work in AFD every now and again. But as long as it's not a habit formation and it's a one-off, and we are committing to you that we're going to try and make it better, then that's where we're at. But yeah, like you said, people want honesty. And that's what we give them, hopefully, during our session. And no one's perfect. This might not happen all the time, but here's some stuff that potentially could be valuable for you. I'm not going to tell you that it is.
Yeah.
Because I don't like giving blanket advice or person-centered stuff.
suppose there is that balance, isn't there? So like giving them your experiences, which is probably takes a lot for you. You're probably used to saying it now,
Yeah.
but like to start with, it probably wasn't very easy to
No.
tell your story. But telling people your story and then getting them to listen but not, like you said, don't preach to them.
No.
You don't want them to be like, oh, so this is going to happen to me. This is how it's going to end.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, and like you said, trying to find the balance, being honest, but also focusing on solutions and not problems. And it's like let's try and focus on some solutions. So yeah, we have the highest rates of drug abuse out of any industry in the world.
do we
Yes,
actually?
we have. Yeah, and yes, we have the third.
Is that because it's so easy to get hold of, though, probably in our industry?
We have the third highest rates of alcohol abuse out of any industry in the world as well. Number 1 and 2 being like heavy mining and construction, which shocked me until I did research. And I was like, doesn't shock me anymore. But yeah, like they're facts, but we can change it.
Yeah. Did you find it difficult talking about it from, obviously, men that aren't seem to talk about it so much?
Yeah, it's a huge one, and I've just done a piece around this on kind of vulnerability. So being from a group of cultures, and you'd think that me talking about my feelings was like pretty natural, but actually it wasn't. Because I grew up inside of a trade that was like stiff upper lip, leave your shit at the door.
Yeah.
And also I wanted to be a young operator. Like I wanted to have my own venue at like 22, 23. And I used to think that if I was to talk about my emotions and feelings, that I wouldn't be able to get there. Now, unfortunately, I think it's like 75% of our senior leadership in the industry at the moment are men, right? Which is ridiculous. But also, when you match that with this trait of not wanting to be vulnerable and being macho or manning up, then what you're doing is perpetuating that cycle within inside of our trade, which is so detrimental. So it's about communicating with everybody in our businesses about vulnerability being a superpower. I think I talked about this at the BII event, but Brené Brown's got A Call to Courage. It's like a documentary on Netflix. And it's incredible because she talks about how vulnerability is a superpower, and actually how can we lean towards that and start to promote our leaderships teams within inside of businesses, like being vulnerable. Because I don't remember ever a business owner or an ops director coming up to me and being like, Paddy, I'm having a really bad day today, mate. Can you go easy on me? Ever. Do you know what I mean? I just wouldn't. And the first time one of them did, I remember I went up to her and started to just hand over all the crap that had happened that shift. And she was like, my anxiety is going through the roof. Can you just give me 5 minutes? I remember going, oh shit. And then I walked away, came back. Yeah. I walked away, thought to myself, well, if she can talk about it like that, then maybe I can talk to her about what I'm experiencing. And I did, and it was the first time I ever went back and talked to someone about my relationship with drugs and booze. And that was like year 9 of being in the trade. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, leading with vulnerability is such a huge thing.
Obviously, you wanted to leave it so you could get out of it and help yourself, but you're still obviously very involved in it.
Of course.
What is it about the hospitality industry that you love?
What do I love about hospitality?
Yeah. It can be more than one thing.
Yeah, I know there's lots, right? This is going to sound really cliche. I remember someone saying to me that service is black and white and hospitality is colourful. And I was like, I don't understand. Service is very transactional. Like, there's no grey area. Here's your food. Thanks very much. Done. Yeah. You go to McDonald's, right? It's a service industry. You go to the counter, order your food, give you your fries and your Big Mac, and then you're on your way. I went to our Christmas do this year at Ramona in Manchester. And I messaged their team and said, look, I know it's a late booking. Can we have like a table of 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever it was? They said, yeah, of course, no worries. And that was it. And I turned up and they'd printed out and written a bespoke cocktail menu that was non-alc that they created for us, branded up the piece of paper with their branding and ours, and then named the cocktails after like our slogans. Like,
that's cool. I think I saw, did you post a picture? I think I might have seen one. The like, so let's talk cocktail and things.
And I was like, that's colourful. And leaving with that feeling and having the ability to be able to make someone feel those kind of emotions through the service that you give. That's why I love hospitality. As well as the fact that I move away from family. You know, I don't like the family talk.
Yeah, you don't.
Really don't like it. We're not family unless we're blood related, right? We're colleagues that care. But the fact that I've got such an eclectic group of friends from all over the UK, people that I probably wouldn't have been mates with unless I worked in the industry. Like naturally, I probably wouldn't have warmed towards them.
Yeah.
But when you're doing an AFD together and it's busy, you have to get to know that person, right?
Yeah.
So you end up being mates, and that was one of the things I just love, how hospitality can make people feel, but then also the kind of connections that you can create whilst you're working in the trade.
We had someone say that their favourite thing about hospitality is being the person that creates the moments for people. And I'd never really looked at it like that, but they were saying that if someone's celebrating their anniversary, it's because of you. Like, you're serving that food, you're prepping that, and it's made... I've never looked at it from that angle, but actually that is what hospitality is, isn't it? It's being there to celebrate
Without doubt. That can become
other people's
unhealthy.
moments.
Yeah,
you can rely on it.
Yeah, you can rely on it. Yeah, also you can do that at the detriment to yourself. So I used to think that my whole being was around serving other people. And I got so busy providing those wow moments for everybody else that I did it so much and I forgot about me. So it's like, yeah, I've remembered someone's name, what table they like to sit at, like what their favourite dish is on the menu. But I haven't eaten for the last 5 hours.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I've had a Snickers and an espresso to keep myself going, and I've just fed 600 people. So it's about creating those wow moments for everybody else, but sitting back every now and going and being like, when was the last time I created a wow moment for like myself?
I had it the other day. I was working in the pub, and when the landlady's not there, everyone asks where she is. As soon as they come in, oh, where is she? Is she okay? Is she okay?
Yeah.
And I just turned around to someone, poured their beer, and I went, by the way, I'm okay. Thanks for asking. They were like, oh, sorry, I forgot to ask how you were. And I was like, I'm sort of joking, but also like, I am the person working behind the bar looking after you today. So maybe asking me how I am might be quite nice. So now it's a running joke that when he comes in, he makes sure that before he orders a beer or anything, always asks how I am.
Good.
But yeah, there is a fine balance. And I think I've worked in hospitality since I was 14, so similar to you. And there's definitely changed a lot in the last, however long, 16 years? How old am I? Yeah, 16 years. But I think being able to talk about everything is a huge thing nowadays.
Yeah.
And it definitely wasn't 16 years ago. No one spoke about anything. No one did anything. They'd be like, you might get the occasional, you okay? And you'd be like, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah. Do you want to go for a beer after work and talk about it? It's like,
Never happened.
never.
I could buy you a beer after work, but we're never going to talk about anything. We're just going to sit there and drink and forget about everything.
Right? And you end up talking crap in the kitchen till 5 o'clock in the morning. And you're like,
and then you go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning and you do it all again.
And avoid eye contact with each other.
Yeah.
Told you all my deepest secrets last night.
No, let's not talk about it today. Oh, no, I'm on a shift all day with you.
I know, right? It's true.
We just brush it under the carpet and pretend nobody knows anything. So let's talk and workforce. We're really keen to work with you guys just on everything. What are you guys going to offer the platform?
Yeah, what we're going to offer the platform. So we have sessions on mental, physical and financial health. Now, whether that comes in the format of being via blog or like this, like a podcast or a session, that is what we offer. So we do it online, in person or via podcast. And we are forever evolving our information and listening to the trade. Like, we didn't have a financial health session until last year.
It's a huge thing.
Massive.
But no one talks about it. Again, nobody talks about that side of it.
No. And it was, someone turned around to me and was like, that was great, Paddy, but I couldn't listen to you because I was too busy worrying about my finances. I was like, valid.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're in a massive amount of debt, don't talk to me about my sleep.
Yeah. I can't sleep because I'm in debt.
Yeah. Right, it's a vicious
But
cycle.
thanks for the tips.
So yeah, that's what we're going to be offering. And without sounding cliche again, like, we create partnerships, and we've been talking for a long time now, right? And
very
what,
long.
yeah, I know, right? And it's like, whatever it is that you need and we can offer, we'll put that forward. But if people are watching this and they've got an idea, and they're like, well, what about we do it like this? Or,
yeah, we're always open to ideas. That's the whole point of the platform. Like, we want people to be involved as much as they can, whether it's from a partner side of view, the members, everything.
Yeah. When you're creating anything like this, you'll know firsthand it's stressful, right? Because you want to get it right. You want to make it land.
Yeah.
You want people to get value from it. But actually, throughout the process of it, you recognise that you're going to mess up, and that's cool. You just fail fast, fail forward, be vulnerable about it, keep on listening to what people are looking for.
That's our aim.
Yeah.
Anyway, whether it happens like that or not, it's a different
I make it sound
story,
easy, it's stressful. Not gonna lie.
But that's what we're saying about being honest. Like, everything has an element of stress, and whether that stress turns into fun stress, bad stress, good stress. Like, when I run the events, to me, it's fun stress. I get to that point where I'm like, actually, like, I'm on that limit where I'm really enjoying this, but I know there's an element of stress where other people will be like, how are you doing this?
Yeah.
How does it go?
Pretty sure we're going to talk about this though, right? Because there is a difference between pressure and stress.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the lack of education of what the hospitality industry can offer
Mm-hmm.
is wild. It's like people still get asked like, when are you going to get a real job?
I've been asked that so many times.
I didn't, like, luckily enough, I was in a management position.
Yeah.
So I was earning pretty good cash, right? So my mum and dad were like, all right,
Yeah.
not doing too bad. Like, it's all right. But yeah, when are you going to get a real job? Like, I was talking to one of our large national partners, I can't say who, but they were putting out a job advertisement and I saw it and it was for an app developer, for an app that they wanted to create internally in the business. And I was infuriated. I messaged him instantly and I was like, what the fuck? Like, why is this out? Have you put this internal? Have you put this into the rest of your team? You've got like a lot of team members. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a budding app developer somewhere.
Yeah.
Those thousands of employees that you've got. They put it out and they got like loads of applications instantly. And I was like, why are we not promoting keeping people inside of our industry? Because it's not just serving drinks, it's not just serving food, it's not just working inside a hotel, it's not just running a bar or a restaurant, it's not just being a BDM. There's so many different aspects to
So many
working
different
in
avenues,
hospitality.
isn't there? Yeah.
And I wish somebody would have told me that. I wish somebody would have told me that because I always thought I'd be an operator. I had to own a venue.
Yeah.
But it's just not true.
Well, you're still in the industry now.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Still in the industry.
We're in the industry. I run events. Like, it's not. There's so many different things, and people just like it's. Oh, you work in the pub. It must be a weekend job, boy. Or trying to work out what you want to do. Actually, I really enjoy working in the pub, or I really enjoy it. I want to make a career out of it, but how do I do that?
Yeah.
I think that's really the angle we're trying to change.
Yeah. The 5th biggest industry in the UK, and people are like, when are you going to get a real job?
Yeah, that sentence. You just want to turn around and be like, "There's a real job."
Yeah, I get angry at people. I'm like, do you remember in lockdown?
Yeah.
Where did you want to go?
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. The boozer, right? So you wanted to see like your family, but the biggest thing that people wanted to do is go out and eat and drink, and we provide that for them.
Yeah.
Let's put some respect on our name.
What advice would you give yourself, if like you now give yourself when you were 21 and you just got the GM job?
Oh wow, I was 21. Vulnerability is a superpower. That would be the biggest one. Like, talk, mate. Like it's really not going to hurt you. I always thought that I had to be the person that was there for everybody else. I got called granddad of the group, right? I'd be the person that would be having like deep and meaningfuls with people after work and all of that kind of stuff. So that one, and then another really cliche one, but it hits hard, is that like this too shall pass. Like, it does. Like, if you would have told me when I was in that really dark place of taking drugs and drinking all the time that I'd be sat doing a podcast, owning a business that looks after people's mental, physical, and financial health, and being happy more often than not, because I'm not all happy all the time, I would have been like, not a chance. But yeah, this too shall pass. Like, yeah, it was tough. But I really wish that someone would have told me that things do get better, so that I didn't get myself into a position of not wanting to be here. It's
really difficult to get that into your head, though, that this will get better.
Yeah.
I think once you're in that mindset and you're like, everyone's like, oh, don't worry, it'll pass. You're like, will it though?
Yeah.
You're not feeling how I'm feeling right now.
So that's a huge topic conversation, isn't it? Because it can be really detrimental to be like, it'll get better, mate. And it's like, get out of my face.
Yeah.
But
I'm
actually,
having a bad day. Let me have a bad day.
That's the one. Being like, do you know what? Like, I resonate. Like, I hear you, it hurts. Like, validate that.
Yeah.
So, like, it is going to hurt. But what I'm telling you is that it's not going to hurt forever.
Yeah.
So, and also, I'm here to help support you through that. Just having someone sat there listening, because one of the most frustrating things ever is when you're speaking to somebody and all you want to do is have them hear you and all they want to do is speak.
Yeah. You just want to sit and listen.
The first time I started to go to therapy, I actually had a bit of a rant at my therapist because I was like, this is way out of whack. So because all my mates are giving me loads of advice that they learned off TikTok, right? And then I come to you and pay you money and I thought you were going to give me advice and you just sit there and say no. So like, how does this work?
I'm paying you this much money to, and then you're like, actually, no, this is actually just what I needed.
Yeah. And I got to like, session 3 and I was blubbering my eyes out and they're still not saying anything. I'm like,
this is how it works.
Yeah. Right. It's good. So yeah, that they'd be the two ones that yeah, vulnerability is a superpower. Like, talking about your emotions is not a negative, but then also like it will pass. Like, whatever you're experiencing will pass.
So one thing we're doing with the podcast, have slightly stolen this from Stephen Bartlett, but don't tell him. We have people before us have asked a question.
Okay.
So we've got a question to ask you, and you'll have to write one down for us.
I've got it.
You have to think. You've already got one.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's one of the 99 tabs in your brain.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
If you could do it all again, would you do it differently?
Oh, great question. Right. Okay. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. I wouldn't.
Is that
So-
because where you were before got you to where you are now?
Well, yeah, kind of. Cliche wise, it is. It is like where everything's been leading up to this point for me. But I've also recognised that if I said different, that I wouldn't be showing gratitude. And actually, I've worked really hard on trying to show some gratitude to what's happened to me, right? So every single one of those moments, yeah, they sucked at times, like really sucked. But it actually led to where I'm at now. So if I was to do it different, I wouldn't be sat here.
What does So Let's Talk have coming up in 2024?
We're hiring some new team members, so our
Oh.
team's growing, which
That's
is
good.
really exciting. Yeah, and our socials are going to be changing up quite a lot. So yeah, get ready for a bit of a change on our Instagram in particular.
Your
Yeah.
socials are good. We like your socials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, they changed a little bit. It's going to have similar stuff,
Yeah.
but it's going to be more lifestyle oriented. Recognise there's a lot of my mush on the screen, being like, do this, do this, do this. Some people don't resonate with that.
Yeah.
So we're creating kind of a clothing line, like I said before, and what I call aid of service. So instead of a point of service like bar blades and t-shirts and stuff, we're creating stuff that's going to aid you being able to give people better service, but also be happy yourself whilst you're doing it. Eye masks, don't see me little alarm clocks, mattress toppers, insoles
Nice.
for your trainers.
That's cool.
Yeah, all of that kind of stuff, and then make it really accessible. And then the biggest thing for us is a physical space. So I'm going
Exciting.
to put it out there. Yeah, we're getting a physical space, and that's going to be the first of its kind in the industry, where people can drop in for one-to-one therapy on the go.
Literally, like, I could be walking past and I go, do you know what? I really need to talk to someone right
I
now.
work in the trade. Yeah, I need some support.
It's exciting. You
Oh.
look very excited about it.
Do you know what? That's the main thing. Like, I'm still so excited.
Yeah.
Tired.
And 4
sometimes,
years.
mate. I know,
4
right?
years this year.
4 years this year.
Exciting.
Yeah, I know, right? It is. It is.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing it all.
I appreciate it, mate, and thanks for being a part of it with me.
Always. We're always here. Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us.